Hey, welcome back to Spooky Bricks and Merry Christmas! So in the spirit of the holiday season, in this video I'll be discussing my mock of a scene from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. So this is depicting the scene where the ghost of Christmas future is showing Scrooge his grave, or at least what could be his grave. I figured the story of A Christmas Carol had that perfect combination of both Christmas and spooky, so even though it is Christmas holiday themed, it still fits right in with other things I've done on the channel. I wanted to give this mock a more unique shape as opposed to something that just roughly looks like a square or a rectangle. So I made the base sort of heart-shaped with a corner right in front, which I don't see too often in mocks. And then with the angles on either side, the whole thing turned out sort of looking like a croissant. So let's start off with the main focus of the build. In the original story, the ghost of Christmas future just shows Scrooge's tombstone, but I decided to sort of step it up a notch and have Scrooge also confronted with his skeletal corpse sort of reaching out to him from his coffin. Just to amp up the whole spooky factor. The Ghost of Christmas Future is mostly just made of a Harry Potter Dementor minifigure with an extra cape up front covering his torso. I also turned the head around to make him more mysterious. Scrooge is wearing a pair of pajamas that are a little mismatched. The legs are from the Sleepyhead minifigure, but I didn't use the torso from that figure because I wanted to make Scrooge flesh-colored rather than the yellow on that original figure, so instead I used the torso from the Harry Potter Dudley Dursley minifigure. And the stripes on the pajama pieces don't match perfectly, but they're close enough. And then the robe is from yet another Harry Potter minifigure. The design on the tombstone was made in Adobe Illustrator and then printed out on some sticker paper. The grays on the sticker don't match the Lego grays as much as I would like, but it's not too bad. Because the entire mock is built at an angle, anything that I wanted to face forward had to be rotated. So I used jumper plates to get things facing front. And I used some angled plates along the edges of Scrooge's grave to get the same effect, which also gives it sort of a nice, rough, jagged appearance. Down the side we have some snowy stairs that lead down to a crypt. The look of the crypt was actually inspired by some of the crypts I've seen at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. I've seen a lot of pictures online of some really great brick-built doors with some interesting parts usage for the hinges and handles, so I wanted to try building one of my own. Now, a lot of crypts have metal doors that have turned green with age, so I made my door in sand green to sort of mimic that look. And I used a fence piece on its side as a ornate window, and then I used a spoon for the handle and some shredder claws as the hinges. Out front I have some rounded tiles on white plates, and that gives the look of a snowy cobblestone pathway. Throughout the build I used pieces like bionicle teeth, horns, bars, and wands to represent icicles. I really like how the exposed underground cemetery turned out in my Sleepy Hollow Church mock, so I decided to do something similar for this piece. But instead of just showing skeletons underground, I made little brick-built coffins, and I'm very happy with how they turned out. I used various angled plates to get that classic coffin shape, and then I finished them off with some printed wood tiles. So I think my favorite part of this build is the fence. I really love how all the exaggerated angles and curves turned out, and I think it really complements the overall shape of the build. The vertical posts are made from black bars, lightsaber hilts, and horned pieces. Then I used some flexible black bars as the cross posts, and I tied them both together with some long black string. I curved the fence down on either end to help create the illusion of perspective and the fence sort of going off into the distance. I angled the stone pillars at the gate to give it a bit of a exaggerated, whimsical kind of look. I always aim to make my trees visually interesting, and I try to do something a little different every time. With this tree build, I wanted to give it a big, thick, gnarled trunk, so it looks like a very old tree that's been in the cemetery for a very long time. In the center of the tree, I built a column of 2x2 rounded bricks, and on top of that I added some Technic connectors, which is where the branches connect to. Around that, I wrapped sort of a covering of interlocking hinge pieces with some rounded tiles on them to create the look of tree bark. And to add to the tree's curved organic shape, I used some flexible bar pieces. And then I wrapped the whole thing in some black rope. Like usual, I used various bar pieces and Technic connectors as the branches. Then to give the illusion of snow on the branches, I wrapped some of them in some white string and whips. At the base of the tree, I used an octopus piece as some roots, which I thought would be some fun, sort of out-of-the-box parts usage. And so that about covers it for my A Christmas Carol mock. Let me know what you think in the comments. Everyone please have a happy holiday and stay tuned for more spooky builds.
The phantom slowly, gravely, silently approached. It was shrouded in a deep black garment, which concealed its head, its face, its form, and left nothing of it visible save one outstretched hand. "I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come," said Scrooge. The spirit answered not, but pointed onward with its hand. They reached an iron gate. He paused to look round before entering. The spirit stood among the graves and pointed down to one. He advanced towards it trembling. "Before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point," said Scrooge, "answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be, or are they the shadows of things that may be only?" Still the ghost pointed downward to the grave by which it stood. Scrooge crept towards it, trembling as he went, and following the finger, read upon the stone of the neglected grave his own name, Ebenezer Scrooge. "No, spirit! No, no, no! Hear me! I am not the man I was. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone."